2014 regular meeting of the City Commission. And Madam Clerk, we have a quorum.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Today, Mr. Law will lead us. Go ahead. Is there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the last meeting? If not, stand approved as prepared. At this time, we have public comment, and David Litton is from Check and Go is not present, so we'll go directly to Representative John Dahl for a little update.
Thank you for allowing me this time to come before you. Also, I'd like to publicly congratulate the Garden City Buffaloes on that state championship 2 in a row. That's a big deal. That's pretty cool. I'd like to report and then answer any questions, if I can, that you all might have pertaining to, we just got done with turnaround. And what turnaround is all the bills that have been in the House we're finished with unless they've been blessed or have appropriations. And they go to the Senate, the Senate bills comes to us in their deal. We had probably about 68, 70 bills that we dealt with in the last 3 days, so they come at you pretty fast. And what I've tried to do is narrow it down to about 3 or 4 that has kind of a direct relationship to you guys. One of them that it's a county thing, but it's a city thing. The gas and oil depletion fund. We thought that it was taken care of. It was going to be in the governor's supplemental, the money that was supposed to come, but it didn't work out that way. It would pass the House okay. It didn't make it through the Senate. So if you get the opportunity to, hopefully the Senate gets another chance at it, because that's important to Finney County along with Western Kansas. Another thing that has an impact on you guys is the mortgage interest rate. They're going to take that away. They're going to do it in supplemental in increments, so the impact you won't see like you may see it. You know, I think it's, you know, it's a large amount of money, $400,000, or you know, give or take 100,000. You know, when, like Steve always said, million here, million there, and pretty soon you're talking real money. They had a House Bill 2566, and this dealt with the Garden City Police Department. It was a good thing for us. When the law is here, when Chief Hawkins comes or Captain Utes or something, they can get more in detail. But what it does, it allows us kind of be the regional center for, you know, a laboratory to do tests, do video, do those sort of things. There's one in Great Bend, there's one in Topeka, and now we have one in Garden City, which I think it's a big deal. It's another step if we want to truly be the regional hub that we've been talking about for years here.
Is that DNA, including DNA?
I don't think so, Mayor. I think that when Chief gets there, they can go and that's all.
I'm here.
Okay, kind of sneak in. That's what they're supposed to do on those sort of things. Another thing that I think will have an impact is we had an insurance. Now this won't apply to the city, but for like Downtown Vision, some of your groups, we passed a bill in the House, goes to the Senate, that will allow groups like Downtown Vision or the Chamber or that can get group insurance, so maybe their health insurance can go down by putting them in groups. In the past, they've not been able to go into groups. And I think this would be a big thing for groups like that, organizations like that, Kiwanis perhaps, you know, any of those kind of things can do that. I think would be a good deal. Something I voted no on that went ahead and passed, and it's that machinery and equipment, the M&E bill that we talked about even when I was on here. you know, there's cement plants. There was one in Coffeyville that was talked about in the past. This was talked about, the one in Neodesha. The reason I voted no on this bill is I think it can come back and haunt us. You know, we rely on property tax, and if I was a big business, if I was an ethanol plant or I had a feed yard or something to that nature, and we make these separate bills out for these cement plants that they have done now twice, you know, I would think if that's good for them, that's probably good for us, where you have personal equipment versus real value versus personal value, and that's it would be something like that. So, last thing, then I have any questions, is that Garden City Community College was one of 4 colleges that was given the opportunity to give CDLs out. We've done that in the past. We've had colleges that was able to do that, and now they're going to, and when Sebelius was governor, that was taken away. It's being brought back in, which hopefully that will kill lines, limit lines to, you know, it's, if you go get a CDL, it's a pain. You got to go to Scott City or Sublette or Dyke. Hopefully this can be a one-stop shop at the community college in here. With that, I'd be open to any questions you might have. Yeah, Mel.
John, I'd like to know if you know any more about House Bill 2227, other than it was deferred to the Taxation Committee, I think.
Okay, here, this is a rookie part of it. We went through hundreds of bills. The numbers, can you describe the bill to me?
This is on for the communities to be able to vote in off years.
Yes, hopefully, to be honest with you, Commissioner, I would say it's going to pass. Personally, most of us are against it because it makes it a partisan bill. I think, could be wrong, the bill was called God Bless. That means it wasn't brought up in time, so they referred to another committee and to come back to us. But personally, I think it's not a good bill, but we haven't seen the last of it.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
You said most of us. Who's us?
I'd say that I can speak for Representative Jennings would be against it. Just people that I've talked to, Representative Hyman.
Do you feel the need to do that is more so on the eastern part of the states where running those elections in off years becomes more costly, and is that the factor?
Here's what I think, for what it's worth. There's an organization, and we get emails from it called ALAC. ALAC said it was a good thing. And when ALAC says it's a good thing, it's a group. You have a group of representatives saying that it's a good thing because ALAC says. Another example of that would be the RPS, the renewable energy. We have all these, like Sunflower and Westar, and them had to make, have so much renewable energy, 20% by year 2020, those sort of things. It has no impact really on the policy in Kansas, but there are people up there that is pushing that extremely hard that we eliminate the RPSs. I saw it in an ALAC thing, before the session started, so I knew it was going to be something that we were going to deal with, and that's where I think that comes from, Commissioner. That bothersome for us is that sometimes we have organizations outside of Kansas, or in a particular area of Kansas, that dictate policy for the state of Kansas, and I don't think that's healthy.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you so
for your
much. I get
update.
to drive back today, and it's a beautiful drive.
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot. So, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 6A.
Deanne Gillen, Executive Director of Beef Empire Days, requests governing body consideration and approval to waive the daily fee and the deposit for the Beef Empire Days Carnival.
Okay. This is pretty routine, isn't it?
What is the daily fee? How much is that?
It's $300 a day.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for Beef Empire Days.
Second.
We moved and seconded that we approve waiver of the daily fee and deposit for the Beef Empire Days. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Angelica Castillo Chapel, Garden City Community Mexican Fiesta Association, pursuant to Code Section 635, requests governing body consideration and approval to sell beer and other cereal malt beverages under a temporary cereal malt beverage license on public property at Stevens Park on Saturday, September 13th, and annual parade on Main Street beginning at 10 a.m. Use of Stevens Park from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Temporary closure of Heroes Way, the use of electricity at Stevens Park, temporarily waive the noise ordinance, and the ability to use the restrooms, concession stand, and extra picnic tables.
Is she here?
No, it's not.
Mr. Mayor, I have some questions about this before that I'd like to discuss. I have no problem with them doing it. I do have some questions about the fact that they're going to have a lot of people down there from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and I don't believe that there's adequate restrooms in the building by itself. I think that they're going to have to put some standalone porta pots down there. I'm not sure how many they had, but last year they didn't, and they should have. And so I think that they need to come and let us know how many they're going to put. And using electricity, do they have do they have little booths or something down there they use electricity in, or is it just lights or what?
They have
Food booths?
throughout
Okay.
the park.
Which-
bands and
And then the band
Yeah.
also.
Okay, and I don't have a problem with using it. I would like to have them coordinate with the electrical department to make sure that we have safety and running extension cords and what have you throughout the park to make it safe. I would like to see those two things addressed and so that we know exactly how many restrooms and then work with the electric department on the electricity.
Motion.
I'll make that a motion.
Okay. Is there a second to?
Could you clarify what the motion
That would include
is?
restrooms.
I'd like to make a motion that
Are you directing their approval to be conditional on a certain number of additional restrooms being in, or we just need to ask the question if they are going to include them? If you are expecting them to add a number to that, it would be helpful to us if you came up with that number.
I'd say 10 or 12, wouldn't you?
I would think, what kind of crowds would they normally have down there throughout the day? 200 or 300 at a time?
At least.
At least, so I would see no problem with at least a dozen of the porta pots to meet those needs and then coordinate the electrical, so.
I think it's hard to put a number there if that's a concern, and it was an issue last year, then I think it warrants looking into, but I don't think we have any way to know what that right number is, so I don't know how we might.
Yeah, I'm not
If
sure
they're
we
done,
would ever know. I mean,
Um,
at least if you had 12.
Sounds like a valid concern, but,
Mhm.
four might be enough, I don't
Yeah,
think
but-
have them do 12 unless somebody, unless there's some method of, coming up with the right numbers.
Well, I'm just comparing it to what they probably have down at the park for the festival. Tumbleweed down there. There's probably a good dozen or so just down there for
That's
that
probably a
crowd
good
factor.
comparison, so-
And I would say that the crowd factor would probably be pretty much the same.
I'd say a minimum 12.
Okay.
If they need more than that, I don't know. But I know that the existing restroom facility isn't big enough.
Would not accommodate at all. And when you've got a backup, then you have problems. I'd like to make a motion that, a request that,
So we got a motion.
okay,
And that is what again?
having 12 restrooms, porta pots,
And electrical,
and electrical to work with the city electric department on electrical.
Was there a second? I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the request for the Garden City Community Mexican Fiesta Association to add 12 porta potties and have the electrical department check extension cords and that type of thing, as well as what's in this request. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Okay.
Jimmy Deal, on behalf of Leave a Legacy Foundation, requests governing body consideration and approval for the temporary closure of public vehicle access to Lee Richardson Zoo on Saturday, October 4th, from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. In a barricade to be placed at the 4th Street entrance to the zoo, a waiver of the fees associated with hanging of banners and signs, assistance from Garden City Police Department, and an extension of the sign waiver ordinance to allow signs to be placed at St. Catherine Hospital through November 4th.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the request, Leave a Legacy Foundation, and put up signs and sign waivers. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Governing body consideration of a request from Wheatland Electric Cooperative, Inc. for the City of Garden City, Kansas to consider a resolution to refinance the city's water supply revenue bond series 2005, otherwise known as the Wheatland Electric Cooperative, Inc. project. And Bruce is here from Wheatland. And maybe somebody else, Keen, Bruce, whoever, come on up if you got anything.
Good afternoon, Council. Yeah, we're just asking you to approve the refund of Series 2005 water bonds that we pay principal and interest to the city. We've done it in 2003. We're asking it for this series. We've got some significant interest rate increases since we've issued these bonds, and we feel we can pass these along to our members, which the city is one of.
What is the interest rate?
The interest rate on the current bonds is 5%, and the new rate will be 2.99.
Wow. Good savings.
The letter, actually, at this point, Commissioners, is the first step would be and what the letter references is a resolution. That resolution is called a resolution of intent. It sort of says both parties are agreeing to head in this direction. We see no problem that if the Commission's got some level of interest in pursuing this, to direct staff and its bond counsel to review the status of the current bond, should include the structure of the financing, and if everything appears to be in order, to prepare a resolution of intent at an upcoming meeting. You're probably not in the position without a resolution to approve a resolution, but I think what my understanding of what Bruce and his board, or Wes in his letter, were asking is, do you have the interest or the will at this point to begin moving in that direction? And so the first step is the preparation of a resolution of intent, which is referenced in the letter, but there isn't one prepared. That would need to be worked out by either their financial advisor, or I'm sure Mary's got a lot of experience in that, who could help their staff or their financial advisor prepare the appropriate document. But there are a couple things that she's expressed an interest in looking into. But if you would like to begin moving in this direction.
What would be the city's cost in doing a refinancing as far as like legal fees and such? Minimal?
Minimal. Mary's work, which, yeah, she does a lot
Compared
of
to
work.
the
So-
savings.
Well, at this point, it's really kind of a pass-through, much like an industrial revenue bond, where there's some specific tax advantages to Wheatland for it being, it's technically a water supply revenue bond, uses a different federal tax.
These are non-taxable, this
Code.
series is.
And so it's complete pass-through. I mean, it's you endorsing for people that would purchase these bonds, the relationship and between the city and Wheatland, and standing behind the model or the plan that was used to come up with the project, issue the debt. But really, it's just a pass-through expense, pass-through revenue for the most part, that you're using your authority as a municipality and sort of passing that on to Wheatland so that they can experience the tax advantages of issuing this type of debt versus conventional debt.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners?
Do you have anything to say?
Not, I'd entertain a motion to,
I don't even know that you need a motion, Mayor, to, unless there's an objection to it, or if you'd like one for the record, just to say that you'd like to direct staff to staff and our bond counsel, Mary Carson, to begin preparing a resolution of intent, or working with Wheatland to prepare a resolution of intent. You can do that. Otherwise, absent an objection, we can move in that direction.
anybody opposed to it? Okay. Go for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. E,
Governing body consideration of approval of a waiver of an itinerant merchant's license fee for Spay Today mobile outreach to operate a spay and neuter clinic at 901 West Mary Street on March 5th through 9th, 2014. And we were contacted Friday afternoon on this, and believe we've everything appears to be in order. The only thing that staff doesn't have the authority to do is change consideration from what would be required, the out-of-state or the out-of-town itinerant merchant's license, to either an in-town itinerant merchant's license or a waiver or partial waiver, whatever, any kind of discount to the itinerant merchant's license that would be required. They've asked the governing body to consider that at today's meeting. The clinic will go ahead from tomorrow, I guess, through the 9th, and they're already booked. And I think there's representative either from Spay Today Mobile Outreach or from the local Humane Society speaking on their behalf here. So, yeah, come on up.
come on up front. Identify yourself.
Yes.
All right.
I'm Monica Turtine. I'm the president of Phoenix County Humane Society for 2014. And we are sponsoring Spay Today to come in, and they offer low-cost spay and neuter. And we are aiming to our low-cost families here in Phoenix County. We transfer, and I've got some numbers from the shelter, but in 2012, we transferred 1,000 dogs out of Garden City to various rescues within the state or out of state. And in 2013, we did 841. So we dropped the number of transfers. Typically, that's because those rescues don't have openings for our animals. So our options are they go to foster care until we can find them a home, or unfortunately, they're euthanized. Our goal is to help the reduction in overpopulation of pets in this community. We're trying to be proactive. Seems like a lot of times with the Humane Society and the shelter, they tend to clash sometimes, they disagree, and a lot of it's just being reactive. And we're trying to help people. And so this was brought to our attention. Humane Society wants to try it. We aren't going to see results probably for a year, but all of our spots are full. They do about 30 animals a day, and folks need help. We're wanting to help them.
Where is this 901 West?
It's the old Creative Marble building on Mary Street.
Oh, okay.
The business owners have donated their back half of their shop. It's been inspected by the state. got approval 2 weeks ago. So,
How many dogs and cats do you think you can do?
She said
they
Yeah.
do about 30 a day. They do about 8 to 10 cats, female cats, male cats, female dogs, male dogs.
Okay.
Is a good average.
Do about 30 a day, and they're
Yeah.
running it for
5 days.
5
For 5 days. That 5th day, they primarily just do male cats, because male cats take the least amount of
What's your-
time.
30 times 5 is
We ask for some kind of proof on low income. Usually it's a WIC form or a free reduced lunch letter. I have visited with a local vet on his thoughts on this. He understands that larger cities have clinics like this. He's not opposed to it. He just wants it to be geared towards low income. And I don't blame him. And we're not trying to cut into any vet's business, but generally these people that are coming or needing help are not getting veterinarian care now. And we have literature to help encourage them to get that veterinarian care.
Well, I
That's
think
a
it's a
good
good
idea.
service for our
Yeah.
community to help reduce the overpopulation of feral cats and
Spade days are nonprofit.
It is.
So you guys were here before in the community, right?
Correct.
So
They
is
were
this-
here in November.
So is this going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to be seeing?
Hope to. They would like, I mean, the need, our waiting list was over 100 long from the last clinic. They would like to come every other month. We kind of want it, this time we have a new facility. We're a little bit better organized. And we're also learning how to aim towards people. We need to do better at getting out into our Hispanic. That's where we're missing right now. And we've got to do better at that.
If you try to come in every month, how's that going to affect the local veterinarians?
Well, they're not getting care now, generally.
Okay,
this is servicing a population that doesn't routinely seek
Okay.
veterinary care.
And our hope is by educating them, our vets will pick up business. I can't guarantee it,
okay.
but if you can help them out now, get the big chunk of their costs out of the way, they might be more inclined to seek out a local vet.
Well, if you do 150 in those 5 days, and if half of that was female cats, that's 75 and 2 batches. That's 150 and times 6. We're almost 1,000 little kitties not going to be running around the city. That's probably a good idea.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
All right,
I make a motion, we approve the waiver on the itinerant merchant license
I'll
for
second.
May 5th through 9th.
Sorry.
March.
Sorry, March 5th through 9th. She was interrupting me everybody's time.
Sorry, I didn't know you were going to
it
go
was,
on.
we've got a motion and a second to waive the interim merchant's license.
I think the clerk needs some clarity. Is that a waiver of the entire fee, or is that changing it to a different fee?
No, I think it's waive the whole fee.
Okay.
I'll wait till the
Okay.
more discussion part. Do you already have a
Been
second?
moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Might offer up, just because I think it's important to stay consistent with using the license rather than not requiring it, a requirement and either a waiver of the fee rather than a waiver of the license, or the city assumes the cost of the fee, so that there would continue to be a fee paid that we would just pay ourselves, and potentially out of one of the community development funds, and if there's $365 left, paying it out of the community grant fund, I think would be an appropriate place. But the idea of having one in place that the fees just waived seems to keep some level of accountability. Would also be helpful to maybe stay in contact and identify the dates a little sooner than 3 days prior. I'm sure that this outreach program, because it's mobile, is a little bit more real time than a lot of things, but at least we could identify some future dates or some future windows to begin working on, so that these don't come as a surprise, an out-and-out waiver, and there's really no reason to communicate.
Okay, do you want to? Do you want to revise the motion? Just include?
I can do that. To waive, yeah, the itinerant merchant license fee for March 5th through 9th. Is that what you were?
But they still have to
Yeah,
have.
and
They
can I
still have to
ask
have the license, though.
Monica, do you think that you're going to, at least for the rest of this year, use that location when if they come back?
If they come back in May, we definitely will
Uh-huh.
use that location.
Okay.
After that, I
Yeah,
don't know, because we have some goals of our own.
I got you.
But-
Well, that would be helpful, at least for the next visit,
Well,
to
I guess
be able to do that, identify the location,
And
rather than a blanket.
well, I'm
For
waiving
you all,
just
it doesn't
for-
apply.
And I'm waiving it just for this time,
Specific dates.
Okay?
until I got interrupted by a second. But I would amend my motion to waive the itinerant merchant license fee from March 5th through 9th for this particular group.
Okay.
It's a second, go along with that. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve, we waive the fee for the license, but for the location at 901 West Mary Street from the 5th of March to the 9th, 2014. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, report of the city.
City's received its franchise payment from AT&T and correspondence from Cox on lineup changes. Just note that future legislative meetings will be in classroom B rather than the cafeteria at St. Catherine Hospital, so just kind of go down the hall and another half flight of stairs, I think. The appropriations ordinance.
What about, I had a question on the chamber banquet. Are we gonna have a table? Two
I
tables?
believe Sealen's sent out RSVPs to you on that, or maybe previously mentioned. Please let her know if you plan to attend and a guest. I think many of you have already RSVP'd on that.
Yeah, I
so.
think so. Okay. We're ready for the, yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 2359-2014A.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the appropriations ordinance number 2359-2014A. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 9A, which if approved would be resolution number
2574-2014.
removes motor vehicle nuisances from 1906 Van Zant, 509 North 10th.
I move that we approve resolution 2574-2014.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 9B, which if approved would be resolution 2575-2014, removes nuisance conditions from 202 North 10th Street.
I move that we approve resolution number 2575-2014.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 2575-2014. All those in, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We have 3 separate advisory board recommendations under 11A. We'll take them one at a time. A1 is governing body's consideration and approval of an amendment to the lease and operations agreement between Sharif Delovi and the City of Garden City for the leased premises known as Napoli's. And Rochelle, if you want to update the commissioner list request?
Sharif, aka Mario, is here with us today as well. He approached airport staff and requested a reduction of the monthly rent payment for the premises of the restaurant based on reduced revenues. And he also cited the previous tenant's amount that they had to pay as far as rental amount on a monthly agreement. The advisory board met last month and discussed the option, pretty lengthy discussion, but ultimately they came to the conclusion that they denied the request for the rent reduction. So we're asking you to consider approving it, denying it, or suggesting staff go into
What are
it.
the revenues? I mean, have they changed? Have they changed in the last year?
Mario would be better to answer that. We don't get any financial statements or any records from the restaurant.
We provide them the
Electricity.
electricity, water, parking,
Gas.
everything for the $600 a month.
It's
$1,000.
A thousand, okay.
Yeah.
Did the advisory board, did they receive any financial statements showing that proceeds are drastically reduced
No,
from
they
the
didn't.
business?
What is it? Are the revenues up? Down? Come on up. Just state your name.
My name is Sharif Delovi. Yeah, I was just asking you guys, if you want a little bit to go low down the price, because sometimes it's very, very bad, we don't have business, nothing, but that's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
Our business is very slow, and bad weather was getting.
Bad weather.
Yeah, that's why, sometimes 1 week is nothing, that's why. And we have a 2-pay employee, we have a lot of employees over there, every week have to pay them. Only, there's 2 chefs I have right now, one $800, one $700 weekly. But right now, I have finance for 1 year, so I have to hand it. After that, I can hand it no more. So,
There's probably, I don't know what the utilities would be, what that would equate to, but I would think it'd be $500 a month, wouldn't it?
Yes.
If you had to pay them yourself. So in a sense, you're actually only paying about $500 a month. If you paid the utilities. I don't know.
I would like to see financial statements before I could make a decision.
Sales tax. No,
Something to,
I have sales tax in the restaurant.
I guess the airport's board discussion, why did they decide not to, or their recommendation? Can you give us an idea of their discussion on in their recommendation why?
And partially of that was based on the lack of information that was provided to them as well. They didn't have any financials, like Commissioner Dahl cited, to base their request on, and kind of how that impacts the airport's revenues, and that the lease is already kind of, for the remainder of the year, it was just automatically renewed in January. Those are a couple of the different reasons.
I think we need some kind of justification for it. I don't know.
it's very important, I think, that we have a restaurant, and
Right.
I'd very much like to see him stay, but I would like financial statements of some kind.
Like a sales tax?
Sure.
Yeah, that would at least tell us the sale, total sales.
Sales tax reports.
Would it be appropriate to
Okay,
have
yeah.
the board work through this again with some more information and bring back another recommendation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
So, okay, Mario?
Well,
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we all want you there, there's no question about that, we just, need a little bit more.
More information on, to make our decision, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item A2, governing body consideration and approval of the distribution of 2014 grant funds recommended by the Arts Grant Committee. And we have, Ashley was the staff liaison to the group, but I believe we have the chair of the Arts Grant Committee here. So either one of you want to take a crack at this?
I'll start and you can answer questions.
Sounds good.
Brian and Shauna are both here from the Arts Grant Committee along with Melissa Gallegos. The committee met February 24th to review the applications. The city received 8 applications requesting a total of $37,500. I believe you should have copies of all of those applications in your packet. The committee recommends awarding $14,250 to 7 applicants as outlined. The $14,250 is everything that's in this fund. So if you have any questions, like I said, Brian and Shauna are both here to help answer those.
What was the total amount of money that you had available? Was it the 14,270?
14,250.
Allocated, okay, yeah, I see. Okay, any questions?
I make a motion, we approve the approval of the distribution of the 2014 grant funds as recommended by the Arts Grant Committee.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the grants as set forth in this request. Any further discussion?
Just kind of, I guess, clarification, is this a recurring budget item then that will kind of the same amount that we'll be looking at, or I guess you'll put an
Varies.
amount and then we can determine.
Right, it's
whether
as reoccurring
if we want
as
or
you
not.
want it to be. Yeah, it was our intent to make more programmatic the money set aside for arts.
Right.
And do it in a competitive fashion like we had done the community grant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this group is. We did, it was a little bit of a makeshift hurry up and do it last year. It was nice to see the process actually work itself out, and applaud the committee and Ashley for getting pretty good distribution. 8 proposals, I think, well thought out proposals. It was a lot different than our response last year on a short notice.
I've got a question. What is American Fusion Project? What is it?
The American Fusion Project, you do have information in your packet on it, but that is Kristen Deering. She's a student at Juilliard School of Arts, or however it's called, and she is bringing a program along with some of her fellow students to Kansas. They will be presenting in Kansas City, in Lawrence, and here in Garden City.
Okay. All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Shauna.
Service. Okay. Police Citizens Advisory Board.
I make a motion, we approve the recommendation of the 2 appointments to the Police Citizens Advisory Board.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And those are Helen Batchelder and Jacob Bradshaw.
Right.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Police Citizens Advisory Board appointees. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Chief, it looks like you've got a lot of holes on that board. You want to do a plug on the air for?
Every week. Every week I plug it.
So if folks are interested in serving on the Police Citizen Advisory Board, please let either the police department or
How many total
City
spots are on
Department
that
say.
board?
14.
So you've got half, or over half now.
Right.
A little over.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we're ready for the consent agenda.
There are no changes, Mayor, so If it's the wish of the commission, it would be items 1 through, I believe we should correct licenses to be number 5, and it'd be item B, 1 through 5U.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve item B1 through 5U.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda items B1 through 5U. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, I guess we're ready for the commissioner reports. Commissioner Law?
I'd just like to express my appreciation and thanks to the wrestling team, and congratulations on doing such a good job and bringing home the other state titles. Good job.
Okay. Commissioner Sessions?
I would also like to congratulate the Garden City High School wrestling team for their repeat win, 2 times in a row so far for the 6A state wrestling champs. I'd like to also thank Representative Dahl on giving us an update on where things are standing in the legislature. It's always nice to have a representative come back and let us know what's going on in Topeka. I'd also like to thank the grant committee for their work on their consideration of the 8 different grants. And I know it wasn't total funding of everything that was requested, but they had limited sources to work with, and they did a good job on that. So thank you for their work, and all of the advisory boards that are working and putting people on the advisory boards. They do a lot of work for us, a lot of legwork, and then put recommendations before us so that we kind of makes it a little easier on us. Mm-hmm. But we do have to do our research as well. But that's what we have advisory boards for. And my last thing that I'm going to conclude with is I request and ask that everybody go out and vote today in the special election. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Davis?
I agree with my fellow commissioners on the congratulations to the wrestling team here in Garden City. It's not only a repeat, and I'm not sure how many over the years that we've had, but we've had a pretty good record of good wrestlers here in the town. I would like to see, last year that group of boys showed up here, and I'd like to see them come back again and tell them thanks for representing our community well in the school. So I hope that they will take the time to come before the commission. Again, thanks for Representative Dahl for coming in and briefing us, and also allowing us a lot of access when we need to contact somebody. He's always more than willing to give us information. I'd like to thank Matt and his staff for the retreat that we just had last week. The staff put a lot of effort into bringing a lot of material before us and giving us a lot of things to think about. And the commission sat down and set some preliminary goals. We still have some work to do for the next year to 18 months to incorporate some of those to better our community. But we could not have done it without Matt and all of his staff. Thank you.
Commissioner Dahl?
I too would like to thank the Arts Grant Committee for all their work. I know that could not have been an easy task. I read through all those applications, and I knew it had to take them a lot of work. So, and I would like to thank Finney County Humane Society for their efforts in trying to control our pet population, and thank Representative Dahl for coming here. I think he does a great job.
You wouldn't be biased.
A little bit. And I too would like to remind everyone to vote today.
Okay. Well, I think we've thanked the wrestling team. I won't say anything about that, but I do want to thank Commissioner Cessna for filling in for me while I had my knee surgery, and appreciate the help. I wasn't in any condition to go out and speak, that was for sure. Also, I'd like to thank the city employees for sending me a bouquet of flowers and That was nice. Had a lot of compliments on those in the hospital. And I also would like to make sure everyone goes out and votes today. I think the polls are open till 7 o'clock. So we need a good turnout. So with that, we are adjourned at 1:50.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.